And we're live. Welcome to the 11th episode of GuardianCast. We have
Episode 10.
11.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Last week's video says 11. Weird argument to start the podcast on, guys.
The outline says podcast episode 10.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's definitely 11. Anyway, we have a special guest, Hexblitz, here from the UK, bringing the salt. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about what kind of games you play, stuff like that.
Well, I played a crap ton of Destiny 1, as everyone else did when it was out. Kind of petered off during that classic drought of 2016 that we had. Jumped ship to PC. Played various PC games, streamed various PC games, and then obviously Destiny 2 now on PC.
Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people watching will know who I am by now.
All right. Well, so with that being said, it is Exo's birthday, so he will only be with us for a limited amount of time.
Yep.
Hey, happy birthday!
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Hey!
So we're going to jump right into it. Couple things. Number one, we got a new development roadmap this week, which is nice. We finally have an idea of what's happening in the future here. And I think what we should kind of do is just sort of do it month by month and go through the points that we think are worth talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So starting with May, we did get the official announcement that the DLC is going to be called Warmind. The official reveal is going to be on April 24th. And here's a big one. The bombshell is they're making all the PvP maps free and combining them into one playlist. So no more like, hey, this person has Curse of Osiris, but they don't have Warmind DLC, and this person has the vanilla DLC, but they don't have the Warmind DLC, but they have Curse of Osiris, and like, you know, all these different
Curse of
playlists.
Osiris DLC. Like, I think, in my opinion, it's the right move because so many people.
Oh, controversial take, man. Making something free is.
No, because
I
it's
think
taking
that's the
it
right
away.
move, guys.
No, it's actually taking it away from the people who already paid for it. So for the people who've already paid for the content, it's actually removing content from their stash essentially of what they paid for. But I think overall it's a good move because the Osiris quick play is terrible and it takes forever to get a queue in it, and I would much rather
Especially
play with
on
people,
PC.
Yeah, especially on PC, but I would rather find people to play with and have those new maps be just in the lineup rather than be thing that they did say that private matches was still part of the
Right.
You know, you can't do private matches on the new maps unless you actually have the corresponding content for it. So you wouldn't be able to do private matches on these maps without the Curse of Osiris, and you won't be able to do the new Warmind maps for private matches without the Warmind DLC, which I think is good.
That's sensible.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But
I think that's
what
super
are we going to get in return for what we pay for?
What do you mean?
You know,
Well, he means in total,
we're
what
paying
will
for
the
this
DLC?
DLC, right? And part of the DLCs traditionally have been these maps. We're paying for those extra maps. If
Are you
they
talking
take
about the
them
next
away,
DLC?
No, this one.
yeah, well, any
No, he's
future
saying like,
DLC
what are we
they're gonna
getting in
have.
return for it?
It's
Yeah,
like
like
total
so.
content. So we get a raid
Yeah,
layer,
yeah.
we get a few strikes, we get a campaign, which I hope is longer than Curse of Osiris, but it probably won't be.
It won't be, no.
And
I hope it actually won't be.
and a couple
I'm
exotics.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
and
it's
traditionally
not
you would have those PvP maps in there for what you paid, right? You're paying your $20, $10, however much the expansions are.
Yeah, I mean,
So what are they putting? What are they putting into that expansion to give people who buy it?
They made a
like,
chart.
content for their
Hang
money?
on, here it is. It
Yeah,
says
there is a chart.
new
Like,
campaign.
I'm all for everyone having the maps and the player base being
There's a whole new planet.
all in one spot, but do you not feel cheated that you paid a certain amount of money?
No,
for
it
this
sucks. It
content and
definitely
it's coming
sucks
out for free?
that for being a part of, you know, basically an early adopter to say, well, you have actually content removed from what you paid for, but
I'd like to see them give us something else in return. That's all.
I
Or
just, like-
reduce the cost of the DLCs.
So just to clarify, we get a new campaign, a new destination, which we think will be Mars. New destination rewards, raid layer, new Crucible maps in private matches, and new legendary and exotic gear.
So that's what we get. We
that's
get
what you get for the DLC.
the ability to do private matches inside of it. So like instead of just doing the Crucible, like the quick play playlists and stuff, everybody has access to that now. But we all have. You still have to have like going forward. They're just gonna make it active only with whether or not you have the DLC for private matches.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of you guys utilized private matches in D1 when they came out?
A little bit.
I barely ever.
A little bit.
I never did.
As an average player, I didn't do the sweats. I didn't try and team up and do competitive matches between people. So I barely touched private matches.
As someone who was like in a clan in D1, I like literally spent like 90% of my time like in private matches, like doing like pickup sweats and like random things, just screwing around. Like literally, like the majority of my time was spent in private matches. So to me, like it makes sense.
I did not use it that much, but I hear what you're saying. I think that I understand why you're a little upset about it, because it's like already a small amount of content that we're paying for, and then they're making it even smaller. But at the same time, I don't want to wait 20 minutes for a match.
It's the same content that we got with Osiris, right? That we paid for, but now the people who have already paid for that DLC, for the second DLC, aren't getting as much as what we got with Osiris when we paid the same price for Osiris.
It's not like we're having that content removed from us. It's just like allowing people who don't own the expansion to play on those maps. Literally the only difference is that people who don't own the expansion can like play on those maps with us, and like that's like a net positive thing. It just really doesn't seem like
I'm all for the player base being consolidated down and having
it's Crucible map
having less
socialism,
of a divide
guys.
between everybody. But I don't know. I think for those who already paid for it, taking something out that was exclusive to those who paid for it, they need to put something in there in return, whether it's something small. I don't know.
Well, the private matches will be the first time that we ever see that, so that's something I guess you could say that they're putting in there.
But no, they'll still be able to use private matches. Anybody who doesn't buy the expansion, they just can't.
Play those maps.
Yeah, but I mean, those maps specifically won't be eligible for that, because private matches is a new feature, but it's only accessible if you have the content.
Right.
So, whereas before, you only have the access to the content if you paid for the DLC, and you had to go through a specific playlist to do it.
Yeah.
Now, if only they could make the PS4 exclusives.
I know it's an attempt
everybody
on them to have shorter queue times in Crucible, everyone in the same playlist and stuff.
Yep.
Which generally on PC is going to be a good thing, right? Because the player base on PC is tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be better to use their exclusivity with PlayStation to just have crossplay with the PS4? You've already got full controller support, right, on the PC.
Well, I've been talking
Exactly
about this for a couple of days, actually. Like how
other games have crossplay.
Oh yeah, I'd love to stomp some console players too, man.
Fortnite has a crossplay between PC and PS4, but not both PS4, Xbox, and PC.
And Xbox, yeah.
And Xbox and PC, but not Xbox, PS4, and PC. So like you can go from one console and PC, and I think Fortnite has an Android, obviously, but that wouldn't really apply. But I'd love to see a day where we see PS4 and PC can play together, or Xbox and PC can play together, but PS4 and Xbox until they get on the ball together.
I think if we're going to see anything, it's going to be PlayStation and PC, just because of their deal with Sony.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I don't even care. Bring more players in. I would have been mad.
Exactly. I mean, there's enough controller support in the PC version now that it's essentially identical to the console version. It's just one's 30.
I don't think the PS4 players are going to like it, though, man.
First of all, it won't happen with this generation of Destiny. Maybe in Destiny 3, but like the things that you're talking about require we're not talking about a game like Fortnite where you load into like a single instance of a universe and like play until finalization of that instance. We're talking like about a persistent world. And that has to be made with like servers that are like specifically engineered to allow like different systems and different networks to contact those kind of things. So like it's not something we can expect for this Destiny. But as far as like console players like being I mean, keyboard and mouse is a superior input method, and like there's already enough controversy about the fact that PlayStation and Xbox have like announced that they're adding native M&K support, you know, potentially this year. Like we're gonna have to wait to see how that plays out to like have any idea like how this discussion would go.
Well,
I think
aside from
M&K,
also just frame rate is a competitive advantage in itself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why they separated. You got to remember, this is Bungie, the same Bungie that separated PS3 and PS4 because of the frame rate advantage and the sight advantage that they would have for the draw distance.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a fix that they need to think about the player base on PC.
As far as a competitive company, I think a lot of people do need to look at that and say, well, you know, this is what people are looking at as in a model of what works. And I don't think with Destiny 2 it's going to happen. Is PC the master race? By population, if you were to go based on population, I would say that PS4 has the superior like player base, then Xbox, then PC.
Well, I do agree with what Hex is saying, though. If they don't come up with a solution to the population problem on PC, like, we're going to stop seeing as much support for it. They're going to stop developing for it.
I don't know. I know it's the same with these maps being free, right? They're trying to get everyone playing the same thing on every platform.
Right.
Yeah. But the problem with the PC version is there's people out there like myself who've played PC games and other PC games. There's a lot more competition in terms of a shooter on a PC.
Yeah.
That are nicer to play, that run nice, that have dedicated servers, blah 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 blah. So that's turning people away, and then you have this group of players that bought a PC specifically for Destiny 2, and then when they got their PC, they've seen all these other games that you can play on the PC. And with the state Destiny 2 is in now, they're playing other games. You just got to look at the Destiny content creators. They all grabbed their PCs, and months after Destiny came out, they're playing Fortnite, they're playing PUBG, they're playing, you know, all these other games, but not Destiny. And you've all experienced that. You go into a queue in Crucible and you play the same 4 or 5 guys non-stop for like 3 hours. They need to think of something. I don't know whether it'd be possible. Like Huffy said, it's probably going to be a huge deal with coding the servers and everything to be able to accept 2 connections from 2 different platforms. But in the lifespan of Destiny 2, if something doesn't change, then there won't be anyone left on PC. And if there is, it's going to be so small.
Well, I don't know if Fortnite isn't really a bad example to go off of, because as far as frame rate and draw distance, the PS4 and Xbox One are I mean, they're even competing with mobile players. So you have
they got 60 FPS now on consoles for Fortnite. So it's.
But do they have 60 FPS for mobile? Because you're allowed to play mobile with PS4 or with Xbox and PC on the same platform. But it's not 60 frames per second there. So like maybe they just not think of that as so much of it as a competitive advantage and just run with it. I don't know. Would the people on Xbox or PS4 really have that big of a problem if it meant more players playing with them?
Exactly. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah, well, here's like I think the big thing is like the narrative that you draw. You know, like from the beginning, Fortnite has driven the narrative like, this is just a game, like it's for fun, like this isn't even a finished game. This is like this big open beta thing.
Still early access.
Like,
Destiny doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, well, Destiny from the beginning started drawing this picture around itself as like a competitive shooter experience.
But at the same time, they've been quoted saying things like, "We don't want it to be Counter-Strike. We want it to be more of a beer and pizza with your friends kind of game."
Yeah, for sure. They said that in private, but their actions didn't drive that narrative. Their actions drove a different narrative. So, I mean, the community, like rightfully so, put words in their mouth, and you've ended up with like this game that has like created the expectation of something different, and so it's going to take like a lot of PR. But
Crisis.
they went with the casual route when they launched, and it clearly hasn't worked. And you can see with their updates, they're trying to bring back that quote unquote hardcore PvP player back into the game, because that's what saved Destiny 1 through vanilla. It was the Crucible. Like, if it wasn't for the Crucible and I logged in every day and I played Crucible nearly every day, I probably wouldn't have played Destiny 1 if they didn't have that fun and that aspect to it. But at the same time, it had that bigger player base. It didn't take you 5 minutes to play the same 4 people that it does on PC. And as a PC player who likes Destiny, I don't want to see the player base get so small that it gets to the point there's no point playing it.
Right. Well, Kinran asks, Hex, should everyone use a controller over mouse and keyboard? If that is like, I guess, to take, I'm pretty sure that was a trolley question, but like, would mouse and keyboard become the de facto standard on PS4 or Xbox One? Do you think
No, I don't think it will. The people who are using the controller on the PC version now are players who played Destiny 1, played console games, got themselves a PC to play Destiny.
Yeah.
And that's what they know, that's what they love. And as much as I hate the fact that they do have an essential advantage, I guess, in a way, with some of their aim assists, there's some shots that players with a controller can pull off based on where they're aiming on someone's head.
Very situational.
Because the aim assist will help them, say, get a headshot in that situation.
Might as they're going around a corner. That's like,
if Bungie are going to be insistent, as we've seen with these updates, in improving controller support on the PC and improving aim assist on weapons on the consoles, then why not think about merging the platforms? The console, the PC already has essentially a console environment for those who want to use controllers. It just runs at a higher frame rate. So, and I think the higher frame rate is going to be that issue that people have. If it was the 60 FPS game on console, people wouldn't care if it was on PC.
So with this with this concern though of the dwindling population, you realize like your request to remove aim assist from controllers is like never going to happen.
Oh yeah, I know. I know it's never going to happen, but it's nice to like to rant about it every now and then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a PC player at heart now, and in a competitive versus mode, I don't see why you should, like, I don't use a keyboard and mouse on the console if I want to play on a console, so I don't see why you should be able to use a fully fledged controller on the PC. But that's what Bungie want. Bungie want that experience on PC to be console-like for those players coming from the console and Destiny 1, so embrace it. Why not merge these player bases, whether it's an Xbox player base or a PlayStation player base?
So how do you
embrace.
To Avenge's question then, how do you see that they improve the player base that use he's asking, how do you think that they should improve the player base on PC that use the controller, like if
I don't think it needs to be improved on PC. I think they already have a full console.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think for the most part, people are using a controller because it's just comfortable. People are using a controller because they have carpal tunnel and they need to use a controller. People are using it because it's comfortable. That's what they played in Destiny 1. And they played it on console and they just want a superior version of the game on PC because it is in many ways and very many ways a superior version. But
it's only Michael brought up a point about the tick rate because of lower frame rates. The console version of the game can only transmit at a 30 hertz tick rate, which he was saying would be bad for PC. But I just want to let everybody know that even though PC runs at a high frame rate, the netcode only goes at 40 hertz anyway. So it wouldn't be that big of a difference. Yeah, sometimes, if you're lucky.
Very rarely hits 40 hertz tick rate, yeah.
Just on, like, the conversation of input method, though, like, as someone who's, like, really passionate about, like, high-level Crucible play, like, I'm so excited for keyboard and mouse support to come to consoles because it's, like, 100%, like, just, like, the best input method for a first-person shooter. Like, it is, like, unequivocally, like, the best way to play an FPS game. And if I was not, like, if I had the option to play on KBM all the time, I would. And I can't wait to be able to play on console and PC and go back and forth and use like the same setup. Like I hate that when I play PC I have to use controller. It's literally just because I don't have enough time to maintain keyboard and mouse skills, you know, for like the twice a month that I play PC Destiny. I think that it's, you know, it's going to be hard to do, but I think that once they move KBM support to consoles, it'll be like a huge quality of life change, and I think the games will be developed in a different way.
Well, for this game to work in that way, the primary suitor for that has to be Sony first. I mean, it has to be Sony saying, you know, we want this as a method for that, and we're going to really push for it. Similar in the way that they did.
I mean, they already have.
Well, similar in the way that they did with VR, though. I don't necessarily know that they put that much behind the VR experience for them is like, okay, no, we want you to make a game for VR, and it's got to have that similar push from Sony to the developers for.
Aiming on a mouse at 30 FPS is not going to be a great experience, though, either. For Destiny,
it's not terrible.
Yeah, but the consoles are a different 30 FPS. The frame timings on a console, especially in the Destiny game, are like on point. They don't waver. So that
except when you go into patrol zones,
it's still gonna feel smooth-ish.
Yeah,
because it's 30
smoother
FPS.
because you have more control over the.
The frame timings are there for that 30 FPS to feel smooth. It's not gonna feel as responsive as a PC would do.
And maybe maybe the Destiny 3 will be developed with that in mind, and they won't farm out their.
I don't want to talk about Destiny 3. That's gonna like
I'm curious, though, Huffy. Why do you choose PlayStation over PC?
Xbox.
Or Xbox?
Yeah.
Xbox, sorry, or console over PC. Yeah.
As far as like
community, it's just
me.
Yeah.
Just why do you prefer playing Destiny or Destiny 2 on your console versus you do on your PC? Like, what's the reasoning? Is it player base? Is it friends?
Player base and friends. It's like super. Like for me, it's like I'm like involved in this like community of like, you know, like Crucible players on the Xbox, and for me to leave them would be like silly because like the player base on PC is like too small, and like my keyboard and mouse skills, like I don't have the time to devote to those to be able to, like the top tier Crucible players like on PC will shit on me because their input method is superior, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough time to invest in keyboard and mouse to do that, so that's why I'm on Xbox.
Do you think that if they had a similar system to say like Sea of Thieves, where you had the game anywhere, you could play with your Xbox friends on the PC, do you think you would be on PC more learning mouse and keyboard?
If I could play with my Xbox friends while I was playing PC, I would never turn on my Xbox. I would sell it. I would be playing on keyboard and mouse. It's a better input method. It's a better experience. For high level play, it's incomparably better on keyboard and mouse.
I think that's the reason why I think that the solution to the PC's player base problems is just getting one of the consoles on board with their player base. Because there's people like, you know, like Huffy said himself, if the Xbox player base was able to play with the PC player base, similar to Sea of Thieves with the Game Anywhere program that they have, then he would be on PC. And he'd be playing his preferred input method on a game that he likes with a higher fidelity, graphical, higher frame rate, and generally a better physical experience.
And field of view.
Currently the social experience on PC is terrible because there's just not enough people playing it.
Yeah.
I want to start talking about, we haven't talked about a single specific thing going on in May, so let's move on to that.
Cool.
So number 1, seasonal Crucible rankings. We've talked about this a little bit in the past. Hopefully it's not just an emblem again.
Yeah, we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, I don't know when the stream...
They had to pay their artists.
Oh, got to delay it a month. But didn't they say there's going to be a stream about Valor and Glory? When is that? Because they're having the April 24th Warmind reveal stream. So is it before that? Or is it going to be after that?
I'm betting it's going to be either after or in the same stream. They want to condense these streams. They do not want to have multiple reveal streams back to back to back like that. They don't want you tuning in on Twitch to them. They want you watching someone play the game.
They certainly should not do 3 reveal streams where they show you every good thing about the DLC and all the guns and the new planet and all the stuff.
Right. Yeah, so let's take a look at the new social space, which I don't think anybody went to. Beyond just talking to the man and leaving.
We got private matches. We talked a lot about that already. We're getting a vault space increase of 50 slots. This is a temporary solution. It's not going to make a big difference, guys, but it is to hold us over for the bigger fix, which is, I think, this gear collections thing, right? So I think the gear collections is going to be similar to how we have exotics in our vault right now.
Yeah, it's gonna. My guess is everything you've collected will be saved in a gear collection to where you can call upon it and bring it back to where you had it before, so you wouldn't have to dismantle it or hold on to in your vault. If you have multiple versions of the same one, you can pick the best version of it, but
let's put a pin in that till we get back to September, because I do have a couple things I want to talk about with that. But just so you guys know, we're getting the vault space increase now in May.
Yeah, the 50 slots is 50 slots. I have like 197. I'm probably the most pack rat person you could find.
50 is enough for now. Yeah.
Right now I have 199 of 200 in the vault. I'm looking at it right now because I have a computer. And yeah, I mean all my stuff is
guys.
Yeah.
It's a PC exclusive. Yep. I'm looking. I mean, my all my characters are completely full.
Yeah.
And I have 199 and 200. So the 50 will make a difference because I'll be able to put all the guns and armor that I have just sitting there. The only problem is the new stuff. It's gonna be an issue.
All right, so we're getting a multi-emote wheel.
I'm so excited about that.
Cool. I don't know what I'm going to map all these buttons to. But...
I was disappointed that wasn't there from the start. I thought it would have been.
Should have been in the game at launch, guys.
Dude, no, I don't buy those arguments that it should have been or it should be at the in launch, because we don't know what the game should have been at launch, because
it should have been better.
If you say this is what the game is and people buy it and people go, oh well, it's missing something, I don't know what it is, and then all of a sudden Bungie comes forward and says, well, I'll tell you what, guys, we got a great idea, this is based on your feedback, we're gonna do this, and it's like, well, that should have been at the game at launch, and it's like, well, that's just a stupid way to look at it, because
the multiple emote thing was something that people were asking for in D1 in year 3.
Yeah,
because emotes are fun. Like I welcome this, I like having the idea of having, I don't know, have they said how many
I'm not
have
saying
on this thing? Is it going to be 4, 8?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
they have not specified how many are on the
general
wheel.
malaise of oh, this feature should be in this game X at launch, and you see it not just with Destiny, but you see it with other games. I think that's just the wrong way to look at it, because with a game that's supposed to be expanding over time, you can't say what should or shouldn't have been in the game at launch. Technically, everything in year 3 in Destiny 1 should have been at the game at launch, but it wasn't, because of technical
weird
reasons,
development cycle,
development reasons. I mean, there's you can say that about any game that has had any update. I mean, it's just a
should have at least been an evolution of things that we had, right? And a multi-emote wheel after Destiny 1 would have been an evolution to the emote system. That's
confirmed, guys.
It's welcome.
It would have been cool.
I can't wait to check it
Destiny
out.
Destiny 3 is confirmed, by the way.
What?
Then you mean Destiny 2.5?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I can't wait to be able to do the sad emote and also do that. There's this dance I've been using. I forget what it's called, but it looks kind of like this. But I need to be able to do that and sad at the same time. I mean, I honestly, I think if they're gonna add an emote wheel, that they should charge us for it, because I will pay $5,000.
Wow. I mean, honestly,
don't put ideas into their heads.
I need to remap my emotes, because like the default keys of having them on the up, down, left, right directional pad.
I think that's what it's going to end up being.
It won't matter when the multi emote comes out. It'll be up.
I think the multi emote though. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a wheel. I think it's going to be because did they say wheel specifically? It's multi emote. I think it's going to be 4 emotes, and you're going to be able to change.
Or you think you just could change the 4 that we currently have now?
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Hopefully. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be 7 to 12 emotes that you can have. I think it's going to be 4 emotes you can have equipped at any time.
I'd love to have an emote wheel like hold I don't know V or B or whatever it is, and you could just pick one of like 6 or 8. That'd be great. But
I hope they don't do that for console.
I don't think they're doing that though. Like, I don't think anybody does anybody think. Oh, maybe we'll put this question out there. Does anybody think that we're actually going to get an emote wheel?
I've heard it phrased that way before.
I'd hope that we did, but yeah, I can see your way being probably the way they would go. Where you could edit the generic 3 that you can't edit currently, and put whatever you want in those. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think at the very least that's what we'll get, and maybe we'll be surprised and we'll have the ability to equip 15. We don't know.
Right. So now we're getting into the exotic weapon masterworks. Oh wait, that's the masterworks. So masterworks, I really don't expect them to do much more than what they're doing on legendaries right now. It's kind of sad.
What, for the exotics?
Yeah.
All the paddles on the elite controller are for emotes.
Yeah, I think they'll be the same. You just get an extra bonus stat.
So doesn't that kind of beg the question then? Why did we have to wait till May for them to do the same thing to exotics?
What do you mean?
Well, like if these come out and like I'm keeping my expectations low, and the exotic weapon masterworks just apply the same kind of small buffs like stability or whatever, depending on what kind of gun it is, as it does to a legendary weapon, and it produces orbs, why couldn't they just roll it all out at the same time? I mean, that it can't be like a development limitation, right? They've already made the system.
It's a different development. It's a different team.
Unless they're doing something different, why would it be a development limitation?
They have multiple 4 or 5 man teams working on one specific feature, one very specific feature, and then they roll their 30 plus people into each feature until it gets done. And the probably the baseline work of that multi emote wheel was in progress, but then
we're talking about exotic masterworks.
No, I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about everything. Like every single thing that's on that list is probably has like a 4 or 5 man team that's on there specifically. Like you're saying, why do we have to wait that long?
For this specifically, because they've already put this system in the game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It may have been a balance thing. They're planning to change the exotic sandbox.
Yeah, it could be that.
Right. This is coming with the same time as the sandbox change for exotics. Maybe
that's another reason. Yeah.
To ensure that
it may have
the
been
masterwork
done,
stats didn't break anything.
It may have been done by their standards, but then they wanted to look at it and say, it's not the way we want it.
Okay. Seasonal vendor progression. I'm a little confused what this means, because technically we already have, levels.
That would be the new ornaments and stuff for the season, I'd imagine.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully it'll just put like walls where you have to be at a certain like threshold with a vendor to access certain items.
That'd be nice. I would like that.
I would like that a lot. Worst case scenario, they just give you like a visual representation.
Yeah, here's a number.
Yeah, I mean that's better. But honestly, if they're gonna give me a number, I would want it to be multi-seasonal. I hate the fact that it's seasonal, because I don't know. It's nice. It was nice at the end of D1 to like say like, oh, I finished with a Crucible rank of 576. It was cool.
I don't know if they're talking about I don't know if the Crucible would be tied to that, but certain things reset with the seasons. Like Iron Banner resets should reset every time it comes around, or with the season. I don't really care. Or faction rallies, stuff like that. I think that's what they're talking about.
I mean, I hate that factions are going to reset. I know they will, but I hate that.
Yeah,
it was nice to.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know what factions really are. We'll get to that in a minute. But they have to kind of redefine that. So exotic weapons sandbox changes. This is the big one. This is the thing I'm most excited for because it's the biggest change out of all of this happening in May, especially for the Crucible. They say we talked about this last week. They want to balance everything around that vigilance swing, time to kill, 0.83 seconds. So hopefully we can actually see a drastically different sandbox. I know you guys are concerned about, well, maybe the exotic weapons will be at the top and you will have to use an exotic weapon, but that's better for me right now. I have not used an exotic primary in like ever.
Yeah, I think we'll see the quote unquote exotic meta for Crucible.
Yeah, I think so too.
Changes come out, yeah.
100%. I mean, we're already seeing it now. It's already
everyone's running around with the vigilance wing, right?
Yeah, so. It's literally.
I don't know about you guys. Do you guys use the vigilance wing?
I don't. Yes. I don't really care for it.
Because I tried it, and I just find that 2-tap is so rare that it's like not even worth it for me.
It is, but the 3-tap is so consistent, and here's my
3
big
body
problem.
shots, right?
Yeah, the problem with the vigilance wing is that the skill floor on it is so fucking low.
Yeah.
Like literally any person like that owns a controller has like a very optimal TTK on you, body shotting you with the vigilance swing, and it's very frustrating in the Crucible to play against, to have a hand cannon where even if you land all your shots in a 1v1 engagement, like even if you land all headshots in a 1v1 engagement, you will die faster to someone shooting you in the toe with a pulsar.
Yeah.
It's very
I guess another part of the reason I don't like it is because I like to pair a hand cannon with a pulse, and I don't really like any of the energy hand cannons that I've tried.
You don't like the annual skate?
Not really. Like I really just
same
prefer.
issue I'm having using the vigilance wing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I actually have to go. I apologize.
Later, beautiful.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Happy freaking B-Day.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
EXO.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Nobody else is singing. Hey, happy birthday, dear. He's gone.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. I have the same issue as you, Recked. When I use the vision swing, I can't use a hand cannon because I don't like any of the energy hand cannons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, prior to getting the trials pulse rifle, I was using hand cannon and then an AR or just a random pulse rifle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now vision swing is up there. It's like I can't put it down. I am one of those cheap players that will use whatever the strongest weapon is in Crucible all the time.
That's competitive, man. I mean,
there's
you
no
can't
shame
fault
in
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with these exotic weapon sandbox changes, if they bring up everything else to that level, you will have a different option what you want to use, right? You'll be able to use an energy exotic rather than vigilance wing. I think at the moment vigilance wing is the way it is because there's nothing else.
Namely, the graviton lance will be probably the choice, right?
Dude, I'm excited for Sturm and Drang. It's not terrible now. I've been wanting to use the Sturm since the game came out. Like that combo is literally like my playstyle, like longer range hand cannon and sidearm. Like
you never know, the Crimson might be viable.
I think people are overhyping a little bit. I think people are overhyping a little bit from that video. Like, oh, it's gonna be so broken. Like, it is so situational. Like, it's gonna be rare that you get that 2-tap headshot with
That's what makes it fun, though,
right?
Is knowing that you can pull off that.
I'm just saying it's good. It's balanced. I don't think it'll be broken.
No, I think the thing I'm most excited about that setup is like its strong neutral game.
Yeah.
Like the things that they're the actual Sturm is getting a small buff in that it has like a very high like potential, but the Drang itself is having its neutral game like improved like tenfold with hit reg and rampage, that perk being active. So you're like your short range neutral game is super strong, and then your longer range like hand cannon shots have like a higher kill potential. just a super cool looking combo.
You know what I noticed when I went back and watched that video too is I was like, it's gonna be really annoying to have to like reload these two weapons to combo him. But when he gets the kill with the Sturm, it automatically reloaded the Drang. So
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
I think the thing with that video as well is it didn't show any other exotics being used.
No.
Right? They showed you specifically this one thing that was powerful and strong, and everyone freaked out about how OP it's going to be. But clearly, the people he was playing against weren't using any of the other exotic weapons with any of the other exotic sandbox changes. It might not be anywhere near as strong as what we think it's going to be when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because everything else is going to be just as powerful. So.
Yeah.
But that's where the fun comes with it, right? Getting that, being able to do that one specific skilled thing,
right,
to get that 2-tap. That's where the fun comes in with it. The issue now is what happens when they change weapon slots.
Yeah. The thing that is also exciting about like what you just said, like exotic weapon, like the idea of like an exotic weapon meta. That's like super exciting because exotic weapons are niche, which means they have role. Like something that was very specific in Destiny 1 is like your role was dictated by your weapon, right? There were hand cannon shotty users. There were like pulse sniper rifle users, and like the way you position on the map, the way you played with your teammates was defined by that. The Vigilance Wing is like a very slow moving, sluggish handling, like laning weapon. The Sturm and Drang is like a very like close range, like high potential, like setup. Like the idea of an exotic weapon meta, even if like legendaries can't compete, like at least creates it like more of like a hero shooter vibe where like you have a role, which that's exciting.
You can find something that complements your playstyle rather than having to conform to a playstyle just because weapon A is better than weapon B.
Right.
It's good. It's a good thing.
So moving on, heroic strike modifiers, I think basically it's just going to be a couple of the modifiers from Destiny 1 being brought back, right?
I'm actually...
Do you not think it's going to be the same as the Nightfall stuff we have now? Where you can just set a card
it doesn't say heroic strike challenge cards.
Yeah. I hope they don't add any... I hope that they don't begin to merge those modifiers in a more profound way with the Nightfall scoring. Because the Nightfall scoring, like the control that you have over the different, like the Nightfall feels like the highest tier like PvE activity. It's so hard, and it's hard because like the neutrality of it, like it just has like a very challenging neutral game which you have to solve like using your abilities. I think if they add like severe burn like multipliers and things like into these, then it's gonna make it feel.
Well, they have to make a reason to play it, because right now there's no reason to play it at all.
Yeah, there needs to be some strike loot in there.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff like we had in D1, like specific things to the strike.
I'm really confused about this Nightfall challenge cards. Are you guys confused about this? Don't we already have this? What is going on here?
The challenge cards.
We already have Nightfall challenge cards, right? That's
what I thought.
Like, how is that in the May update?
They're probably just
changes to it, tweaks to it.
Maybe. All right.
More choices for the modifiers, maybe.
That's possible. So yeah, I'm excited to see anything happen to the strikes. Like you said, I'm enjoying the Nightfalls the way that they are right now. But I think that the heroic strikes in specific could be a lot better because I haven't really touched them.
Even if they add things like in Destiny 1, it was really fun when it was like Arc Burn and Brawler. You can go in as a Striker Titan and punch things, and like captains just disintegrate. And you're like, wow, this is cool. This is special. This is weird. You pull out your what's it called? The fucking Arc auto rifle.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Zalo Supercell.
Yeah, the Zalo Supercell. Yeah, you bring it out for that 1 week, and you're like, I get to use this weird gun, and it's really good. But if there's no reason to do it, I'm just not.
Right.
So they need.
Do you think with these heroic strike modifiers, it's going to be similar to the Nightfall where we get to pick what the modifiers are, or do you think they're just going to?
I think it's gonna be a weekly
random ones
rotation
on for each week.
I think it'll be a weekly rotation to kind of get people into a mood and like force them to use different things, you know.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
again, there's got to be
loadouts.
loot. There's got to be a reason to do it for sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm
Yeah,
not
there's
even gonna
gotta be
touch
a
it.
Yeah, there needs to be strike specific loot or something. Even if it's an armor set that is a Vanguard armor set or a Vanguard weapon set that you can only get from doing strikes rather than being a single item specific to a single strike. That'd be fine. You know, but yeah, like you said, if there's no point doing it,
Yeah.
why?
I see. It's cool to grind tokens, right? If like you want that Vanguard armor set, right? So like it would be cool if there was like if the Vanguard armory was like more than set. Like that one armor set, right? That one armor set that has no special perks and does not help you in strikes, you know, and does not I don't know, it's just not useful to have any of the Vanguard stuff. Oh.
Yeah, I think it'll be good if they had a heroic strike specific armor set, weapon set, whether it drops at the end of the strikes on a percentage chance, or whether, like you said, you collect tokens and they're different tokens to what the Vanguard tokens are, and you can hand those in and buy the chest piece, or even if it's just ornaments, but the ornaments actually look good rather than just adding an extra line on your shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there needs to be something there to make me want to actually play strikes. Like the Nightfall stuff now. Last week, didn't really care for it because it was a ghost. This week, I've played far too many Nightfalls this week trying to get that hand cannon. But it's because there is something there that I want to get.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I'm dropping frames like crazy for some reason.
Are they slippery?
Yeah, they're really hard to hold on to.
You should use some of that like anti-sweat hand cream.
Chalk it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Chalk up.
So
I keep some. Wait. Every time before trials carries, you gotta.
1 second.
Should get yourself a pair of gamer gloves, man.
Oh, I couldn't imagine wearing gloves.
Have you seen those things?
Yeah, I have. They are weird. They're not as weird as the yellow gamer glasses.
Oh, you mean the I forgot what they're called now. Gunners.
Oh yeah.
I have a pair of those. They help me with headaches when I'm staring at my screen. But yeah, that's about it. Like if I feel I have a headache coming on, I put them on. It eases it. But yeah, I don't get those people that insist in using them all the time.
Yeah, like some people, it's like part of their like dream look is they have on like this gamer glasses.
They just look too weird to be wearing all the time.
They look hilarious.
Yeah. Can you
they
imagine
really
sitting
do.
in the office with bright orange lenses on your face?
Yes, dude. It's funny. The fucking Far Cry 5. Like, have you played Far Cry?
No, not the fifth one. No.
Oh yeah, the game's like leading bad guy literally always wears this this pair of like those gunner like glasses. He looks ridiculous. Wait, where is it?
Oh, the orange tinted aviators.
Yeah. I mean, look at him. He looks so silly.
So
that's hilarious.
I'm dropping frames, but everyone should be able to hear us. So we're just going to proceed with the audio, and the recording should stay intact. So
okay,
we'll just keep going. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. I can't figure out what's going on right now. So the summer update. I want to say I'm happy we're getting a summer update. I was really starting to get worried that it was going to be a very dry summer until September. It's not much. There's a couple things. But that being said, number one, new seasonal event. I don't know what that means. Maybe SRL, maybe a new thing that we haven't seen anything about yet. Maybe
Well,
something.
we had the. What was the last one we had? One of the snow. Was that one of the snowballs? What was it called now? Dawning.
The Dawning.
You think it's just going to be that, but a summer version?
It could be. It could be something like that, or Crimson Days, or Festival of the Lost. Just maybe like a theme that we haven't seen yet.
More armor in Eververse for us to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing I'm still mad about about like the Dawning
mhm.
is that like I didn't know that there was a cape that you got like from Eververse, and I think it's the coolest looking cape in the game. And I didn't
With
play
the,
during
the horns and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Well, they have this other one that's just like it's like a winter hood, right? That you got
Really?
from yes, and nobody got it because everybody was so pissed about the Dawning being like this big Eververse event. You could get this other cape from like doing like the presents that Ikora gave you, and
Oh,
only
fuck
like a
yeah.
couple people have it, and it's the coolest cape, dude.
I spent too much time worrying about getting the Dawning gear
Yeah.
for the hunter because it looked so good. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's called like the Winter Cloak. So cool.
Yep. The faction rallies are coming back in the summer. That's another thing.
Yay.
Yeah. I mean, they're supposed like they took them away because they're supposedly fixing them and making them better. I mean, they say improvements. I don't know. They haven't really shared with us what they were working on when they started working on this. I really hope it was long before they took it away, because even in the summer, I feel like if they took it away and they're like, "All right, guys, let's brainstorm," then
Yeah.
you know.
The only thing I'd like to really see for faction rallies is a crucible event for it, where you get, I don't know, even if they make it like a multi-team thing, like a 2 versus 2 versus 2, or 3 versus 3, or whatever it is, but have you match with people that are in the same faction as you.
Right.
And when you win games, you earn reputation. Because let's face it, like the Crucible guys got left out of nearly every faction rally. Like it wasn't the optimal way of getting tokens to boost your faction. So
Right.
I'd like to see something. I'd like to see something Crucible based, coexisting with the PvE side of it.
I'd like
What
to
that would
see
be.
something just different than like do what you normally do and get tokens for it. I'd like to
Yeah.
see like an actual
Yeah,
activity related to it that's different. We're getting bounties back, which I'm a little confused about. So like I liked bounties in Destiny 1, but it was because they served a purpose, and I don't know what they're going to do now. You know, like before it was like you had your bounties because you could level up your weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, now
You
what are
can
the...
level up your weapons, level up your subclass, leveled up your like the
Factions.
Vanguard faction, so you could get like
Yep.
the Vanguard armor, which nobody had.
Yeah.
start exotic quests when you hand in. So
Yeah, start exotic quest.
But I mean, like now, they're going to be like, here's some more glimmer, you know, like...
Yeah.
Well, maybe the bounties coincide with the or is it the vendor progression system they're putting in?
Seasonal,
Warmind, I
yeah,
think.
seasonal vendor
Yeah.
progression. Maybe.
Maybe there will be a ranking for the vendors.
So maybe it'll be
the
just
bounties will help.
reputation based then. That would make sense. But like,
Could be, yeah.
I want to see higher tier rewards for those rankings. Like, not just like, oh, once you get to rank 5, you've unlocked everything. Like, how about rank 20 and rank 50 and rank
You mean
100?
like exotic class items?
Yeah, but I
We
mean,
had
even
it
that
in
was only 25. That's as far as they ever went, and people had rankings like over 1,000. You know, so like, I just think that there's a lot more they could do with that. I mean, 25 was a big deal in like year 1 when you could only like do it by grinding reputation, but then once they
Yeah.
were like, oh yeah, just turn your materials in and convert it into reputation, became really easy.
As long as it's not, as long as they're not something along the lines of you go to a reputation vendor, say it's the Vanguard, you grab these bounties, you go off, you do it, and you get 5 Vanguard bonus tokens. That's it. As long as
Ugh.
it's not that,
Yeah, that
and
would
it's
be-
more more similar to the Destiny 1 style bounty.
Oh, they're gonna give you tokens. Oh, they're gonna give you tokens.
Yeah,
You're fucking kidding me. I didn't even think they're literally just gonna give you tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll give you a bonus 10 tokens on completing the bounty or something, right?
He can't even hear you. He can't even hear you. He's just raging right now.
But if it's a similar system to Destiny 1, then yeah, I welcome it. If it helps progress at real rank with those factions, if it gives you, I don't know, XP for something else, if it gives you a chance of unlocking exotic quests like we had in D1, perfect. But yeah, I think it's gonna be tokens.
Guys,
I mean, that's what you kind of take away from Bungie at this moment in time, right? Is that it's gonna be a bonus token.
I think Huffy's going to get some Tide Pods. Poor guy. How was the Tide Pod?
Good.
It's a bad day, man.
Oh! This episode brought to you by whiskey.
The token.
Yeah. I don't turn my tokens in anymore. Do you guys? I don't turn those in. I don't turn in weapon parts.
I've turned in a lot of gunsmith parts because I wanted to get the mana for the Nightfall. And yeah, I must have done about 7
like 5,000 gunsmith parts. Like,
yeah, dude. Most I've seen some people, they stream and they go to the inventory, they have like literally like 2 full rows of fucking gunsmith parts, like 2,000 crucible tokens. I have like 1,500 crucible tokens sitting in my inventory.
I can't stand the icons flashing at me in the tower. I have to go and hand
it
in. I have to. If I got to rank up, I have to go and hand it in.
I hate those flashes. Like, I know, I'm aware that I have packages. I don't want them because there's nothing
too much
in them.
Inventory management. It's way too much.
Yeah, it's like it flashes, and then you go and you get like a big bag full of stuff that you then dismantle for weapon parts, and then the other guy flashes, and then you go to him, and you literally just like hold X for like 3 hours until you're out of materials, and you're like, wow, what a great gaming experience. I really love going to the tower, so I never go to the tower. There's nothing to do other than hold X. You just hold X.
Just to wrap up summer, guys, we're getting PC clan chat. Nice. Hopefully people use that more than the local chat, because I haven't seen the local chat getting used a lot.
That is something I've been looking forward to more than what I should be.
Yeah.
Is being able to just talk with your clan in game.
Yeah, and not have to use Discord for LFG and stuff.
Yeah. Not that there's anyone ever online anymore, but
And the other problem is half the people don't look at their text box. Like you whisper somebody.
I clear it every time.
And then the last thing, exotic armor sandbox changes. This is probably the most exciting thing here, and it's asterisks. So it could get moved, which would suck.
Well, it's been moved already, right? Wasn't it originally a May thing?
I don't know that they were. I don't know that they were being forthcoming about whether they were going to change the armor or not before this. I don't think it was on the roadmap, but I could be wrong. So yeah, this could get bumped. I kind of expect it to, because that seems to be like everything that gets the asterisk. See you later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that's going to take a lot of planning. I expect something like that to be done when it's done, rather than pushed out.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It better be by September, though. Like, it can't be any later than that.
Yeah. I have one request.
Okay.
Just like change the description of the Stompies to improves hunter jump, and then make it apply better control to triple jump, and give me my bones of AO back.
Yeah, same.
It's like the one. It's like the one thing I want.
Yeah,
just
I want
give me
that.
bones back.
Yeah,
you never know. You might get bones in the next DLC.
Yeah,
dude, if I get bones in the next DLC,
yeah, never taking them off.
Take my money. Take my money. Give me bones.
All right, so the last thing is September. This is like the big expansion we're all excited for. They've listed a couple things here, but a couple of them are big deals. So we started talking about gear collections. I think this will be mostly like sort of similar to the exotic collections. It'll probably be in your vault, so hopefully you don't have to run all the way around the tower like different kiosks. With the set roll weapons like Better Devils, they could put like pretty much everything in there, and then you could just delete anything you don't use on a regular basis and then be able to get it back if it's ever good.
Anything that helps me organize my vault,
Yep.
I welcome. It annoys me logging into it, opening up, and you have like 2 or 3 crucible weapons here, and then some trials armor over here, and you know, some raid stuff down here. It's like, just let me, even the little sorting button on the edge, let me just put a sort by activity or something in there, so I can see everything.
So you don't have any control over where they appear in that vault. It just goes, and it's like,
I'm gonna incorporate this into weapon randomization because I think they're kind of relevant together. So this is why I think weapon randomization does not mean straight up random rolls on everything, because it can't. How could you have a gear collection with random rolled weapons? I think it'll be mods allow you to modify the rolls on weapons and change them, and then maybe, you know, it's a little more in depth than that. But
here's why I disagree.
Okay.
I think that they're going to be adding new weapons with randomization. I don't think it will affect old weapons. I think there will be new things to chase that will have randomization, but they have completely removed like mod rework like from this.
Yeah, well they said explicitly that mod changes are being incorporated into our new plan for weapon randomization.
Did they really?
Yeah, that's what it says.
I'm glad that they said that, because weapon randomization to me doesn't necessarily say that they're going to randomize weapons. They could just say, okay, you're going into a nightfall today or a raid today, and you're getting you're having a random loadout made for you.
Well, then what's random about that if you're modifying it yourself?
Because you probably get random perks on the modification. Like you get a random mod that drops, you know?
Yeah, you probably find you put the mod in and it'll give you a random thing, kind of like the Masterworks.
Yeah, I mean, I like that better, dude. I don't like, I've said this multiple times, but I don't like this idea of like, you could be doing any activity and get something that's either completely useless or the best thing in the game at any time. Like, I'd rather like have a clear path of progression towards something good. You know?
Yeah, clear path of progression, having like a small orb in your pocket that you shove into a weapon 70 times until that weapon becomes like, you know, what you want instead of something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't sound fulfilling to me.
Like, literally what you just described sounds a million times better than random rolls on weapons. Yeah, if like they took Monster Hunter and just like let you build things like from small materials, like if they were,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
that's not a random roll though. That's not a randomization, is it? That's a
forge.
A forge. Yeah.
This sounds like taking my Better Devils and beating it on a table until the gun shoots the way I want. Like, does it work now?
No. They give you a base weapon that's pretty good, and then they let you turn it into a god tier weapon slowly over time, rather than like, here's another Better Devils. It's useless. It's useless. It's the best thing in the game.
They're taking that Masterworks like system where, you know, you can turn it into a Masterwork and give you a random stat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds as if it's going to be a similar system where, if it is incorporating the mod system 2.0, you'll put a mod in, and what that mod will do is give you a random perk, or change one of the perk trees to something completely different, and then you can hopefully re-roll that mod slot, like you can with the Masterworks, and essentially get what you want.
Yeah,
but I also do hope that the guns themselves don't drop randomly.
Yeah,
right. I kind of hope that if you get a Better Devils, it is what we know now as a Better Devils to be. Same perks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you want, you can stick that mod in it, and spin up those perks, get random perks, keep re-rolling and whatever until you get something that you want.
And Better
Or something
Devils
different
should
that you
drop
want.
in the Crucible. And like you said about the Manananan, you're turning in like thousands of weapon parts trying to get this thing because you're like, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do to get this thing. It's just, it might drop, it might not.
I mean, when I was doing that, he had it in his little inventory list, and I, still didn't get it.
That doesn't even mean anything. I think that's a random
know,
list
I
of
know.
weapons when you inspect their inventory list.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, who knows what that means? Weapon randomization, so vague. I don't think it means just Destiny 1 random rolls, though. Hopefully it's something better that we all like.
I hope it's not. Yeah, I didn't like the idea of. I didn't like D1, like you said, doing the same strike thousands of times and essentially getting the same gun reskinned with different perks over and over and over again. Just in case you got that one god roll. I'd much rather know what I'm going in to get and then have a percentage chance to get it. So if it takes me 500 strikes because it's a 0.5% chance that one gun will drop, at least when that gun does drop, it's exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Also, I really hope that these mods and randomization, that you can customize these weapons to make them really well or really perform well. There's some separation between Crucible and PvE so that we can get really god tier weapons in PvE and not break the game in PvP. So I'd also like to say, with these weapon slot changes, we have talked at length about this last week, and there's really no new information about it at all. So everything is pretty much speculation. It could be, we talked last week, it could be 4 slots, it could be back to the D1 system, it could be a lot of things. We're just going to have to wait and see when they're ready to tell us more about it. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Record books, or records, they're announcing.
Yes,
I'm happy
that's
about
going to
that.
be huge.
Yeah,
Literally,
I actually enjoyed the grind for the record books in D1.
it was incredible, man.
So this is one thing I do want to say about it, that I think could be improved from D1. Like, I liked it in D1, but so Age of Triumph, I did every single node in that Age of Triumph book, and you only had to do like 66% of it to get to like max rank. But even though they said, they're like, you don't have to do it all, I was like, I want to do it all. And I thought there would be some like secret reward. I knew there wouldn't be, but I was like hoping there would be. And like
some secret exotic or something,
or just even something cosmetic that was like, whoa, that guy actually did all of it, like I don't. But it's like they didn't want to reward that purposely. They're like, well, we don't want to make people feel bad because not everyone can get that, and like that's got to change. Just throw that mentality out the window. All right?
I think the D1 system was the way it was because there was people out there who didn't Crucible, so they wouldn't get the Crucible nodes done. Or there's people out there that.
More importantly, it was like the longevity stuff. Like you had to be there for certain points. Like you had to be there.
Like you had to be there at the start of year 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you deleted your character at any point, tough shit. Right?
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, all the fucking stat farmers that kept re-rolling their characters.
I mean, I remade multiple characters in D1 because I got bored of the way they looked, and then they bring out these record books, and there's things in the record books in D1 that I haven't checked off.
You know what's not on this list?
What?
They need to let us change our hair.
It's never gonna happen.
I'll literally pay you if I can change my hair.
Maybe that's what they can turn Eververse into. She becomes a hairdresser.
We knew it wasn't going to happen when they gave us the same character creation as Destiny 1,
Is it even, like, it's the same hairstyles and faces and everything, isn't it?
Yep.
Because I just clicked and I went away. And
you just wear a helmet all the time and you never worry about it.
Yeah.
It's poopy butts. Oh well.
Yeah. So, that being said, even though these are big systems here in September, they say more yet to be revealed. Let me just say, it better be a lot fucking more. Because everybody is expecting this September DLC to, like, be the thing that fixes the game. And if this is, like, the majority of it, it's not enough. Like,
I mean,
I don't think so.
What do you expect? I mean, out of everything that we've gone through now from Maine and the summer and stuff, what else is there?
Well, content, like progression.
Well, that's a given, right?
Progression
Content's a
stuff.
given.
So like, I want to see an actual grind where you're not max level in like 2 hours. You know, like I really would like to see it take at least a few weeks to get to max level.
Yep.
Ideally. So I want to see them talk about that kind of stuff and like where they're leaning towards philosophically, so that hopefully we can, and hopefully this is something they're talking about at the community summit, so they can give them feedback to tell them they're doing it wrong before they make a mistake, you know.
One thing that isn't on this list is end game rewards.
Yeah.
And having them being something that you actually want to go for.
Right. And
that's worrying.
Yeah, and I mean they do say more yet to be revealed.
We're gonna have another raid and an entire summer of having a different raid set that does the same thing that our current raid set do, and it's going to be on the Leviathan, I think, because they have the extra...
Oh, you're talking about May. The May, the May raid
between now and September, right? There's no mention of improving rewards from activities or their meaningfulness or the reason to do them.
Yeah.
If the raid armor is just another set of armor, same as the Eater of World stuff.
It will be.
But all of those raid perks that are in there
same.
work across all of the raids. Like, what's the point? If you've got a Leviathan set, you don't need to get Eater of World sets, or you don't need to.
You're right. And you can't even get the ornaments on it until they release that prestige mode. Which, by the way, the challenges, guys. Well, I forgot to talk about this. I don't know if Huffy is listening in right now, but they took the prestige raid challenges off the roadmap entirely.
Yep. After 3 weeks of talk about how they're gonna set
set loadouts
and stuff like that,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So that's kind of a big deal.
Hopefully they've done that because they actually are putting time and effort into the end game.
Yeah.
And they don't want to. They have nothing solid anymore. Maybe they change their minds. Maybe it's going to be a slightly different system. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's really bad. I mean, I hope they didn't say it in here, but the prestige mode for Eater of Worlds better at least still be coming out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to be, right? The armor ornaments have been sat there now for how many months?
I know. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
They need something meaningful in the end game. And it's worrying to see on these roadmaps there's no mention of remotely anything like that. That makes me think that whatever the raid lair is going to be, it's going to just be another Eater of Worlds thing that you don't have to do. There'll be no reason to do it.
Except purely for, fun.
Yeah. Just for the sake of doing it,
yeah. So that's it for the roadmap. I'm glad we at least have some insight into what's happening over the next couple months. And the sad part about this is nothing ever seems to get bumped forward. It's always getting delayed. So this is the best we can expect over the next couple months.
Well, that's game development for you, isn't it? I mean, everything gets delayed all the time. So.
True. So, yeah, I guess we can move on from the development roadmap into the TWAB. They kind of talked about PvE, and with PvE, they were saying how they're going to make PvE harder in general, which is great because it sucks. It's so easy and dumbed down. I mean, it was easy in Destiny 1.
Harder now.
Yeah. Gonna make the Nightfalls harder. I really, really hope that this campaign is actually challenging. I don't want to blow through it in 40 minutes and be able to run through the entire thing, Yep.
I feel on that one.
Then they specifically say it will. They're also changing the scaling. The scaling is going to be up to 50 levels instead of 40 now. So it'll bring back that traditional, if you're really under-leveled, it shows the question mark next to their name like it used to. I forgot.
Are we gonna get 10 extra levels of the DLC though and be 345 instead of 350 or whatever?
I imagine
335.
that will. I mean, we'll have to get something. There's no way that they're not going to raise the light level.
From what they were saying, like from what I mean, I skimmed through this, but they were saying that when something is above your level, it's harder. But when you're on the level and able to do whatever the maximum damage the thing is, you'll still feel like you're destroying
Right,
stuff.
so the updates they made in the Go Fast update and how it feels right now when you're adequately leveled, they're saying they're going to maintain that feel because everyone seems to like that. But if you're under leveled, things will be substantially harder. And then I'm wondering,
which will make things like the Nightfall modifiers and stuff a lot harder.
Yeah, I'm also wondering if the reverse will be true. This 50 power level scaling, like if you killing lower tier mobs will now be even more of a difference where you can like just shred them. That'd be kind of interesting.
Well, don't they have? I mean, I could be mistaken, but I thought Destiny had systems in place, even in Destiny 1, that there was a maximum amount of damage you could do to something.
Yeah.
Even if you are above that level, so
right, that's what I'm talking about. So if it was
I don't
40,
think that's going to change. I think if you're going to go run around and shoot a level 3 dreg, it's going to be the same as it is now. You'll be doing the maximum damage you can do to a level 3 dreg.
But so like they're saying 50 power levels. Like it was 40 power levels was where it stopped making a difference. If you were 40 under leveled, it stopped making a difference. Now it's 50. I wonder if the reverse is true. If you're 40 over leveled, now it'll be 50.
Probably not. Those are different systems that calculate player and enemy.
Well, like I mean, values, it should be easily testable.
Well, they do say that increasing this to 50 power levels adds a little more room for players to show off how badass they really are.
But I don't know what that means. Maybe. If that means like show off how badass they are because they're going into activities under leveled and like still winning, you know, that's what could mean.
I think that's a case of having a 10 power level delta. Damage higher now. So if you were 335 shooting stuff that's 300 or whatever, you can actually do 10 power level more damage to them. So you'll be doing 310 damage to 300 enemies.
Yeah. By the way, Huffy, while you were gone, I just mentioned the last thing about the roadmap. They bumped off the prestige raid loadout challenges. Yeah. It's not even on the roadmap anymore. So.
And Prestige Eater Worlds was out completely,
So I don't know what's going on with that. They didn't make mention of it in their writing about it. They just kind of casually removed it from there. So I don't know if it's being reworked or what the deal is, but they kind of need to be a little more transparent about that, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. Hopefully they just forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully PvE will get more difficult. You guys can read all about this. There's a lot in here. Other than the delta scaling, they're also making it so matching elements, like if you shoot arc at an arc shield, will be 3 times damage instead of 2 times. And then it'll be 2 times for any element. And they're bringing back the match game modifier. Woohoo. No one ever liked that modifier. I don't know why they really care about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope PvE is more challenging, especially the campaign, because the campaign sucks. It's gotta be more challenging than it is now.
Yeah.
The things like with this energy shield changing, like that's all well and good now, but what happens? What happens when they change the weapon system?
Well, the problem is it's hard to speculate.
Right? It's designed to you're designed to take a shield of your energy weapon, switch your kinetic, and get the bonus critical hit damage of your kinetic.
Yeah.
If they switch around this system, something like this might be completely, lost.
It depends what they do. Like I really have no idea what they're gonna do. I really like. I agree. It could be bad, but so they could end up making, snipers and shotguns and fusions share energy slots, or they could put 4, and I don't know what the direction they're going to go is, and we'll have to wait till after the community summit at least to hear what direction they're going in with that.
Yeah.
But
I'm super curious. I just hope that whatever changes they make, it feels more like it continues like this narrative of like roles
Yeah.
Like as far as like from a Crucible perspective, you having like a role, like I like that's like the one thing that like having like that secondary, like always having special ammo, like gave you the feeling of you were a sniper, or you were a shotgun, or you were that weird guy that like used the VOOP, and people were like, oh, he's running around with the planes. I don't know. It gave you identity. You had a function. I've never liked hero shooters, but I like the idea that you can like ascribe yourself to like having a specialty. And like right now, it feels like you have no specialty.
I agree.
This is my biggest problem with 2 primary weapons is everyone is effective at every range. Everyone is the same. It's just give me specialty.
That's true, and also
I mean, PvE feels the same.
Yeah, definitely.
It does.
In terms of PvP, I think the situations are kind of compromised by what you're talking about. So I remember early on trying to learn what I was doing in Crucible and get better, and I watched a lot of MTash Crucible School. And one of the things he talked about was in situations where you're running away and then you end up cornered, if you turn around and try and shoot them with your primary weapon when you're already weak, that's a mistake. Because like you're already at a disadvantage. He's like, it doesn't matter what kind of special weapon you have, whether it's fusion, shotgun, sniper, you have to take a shot and just try and make a play. You know, that is completely gone from Destiny now, unless you have power ammo. So
or super, or
or a grenade. Yeah, you have to have one of your cooldowns.
Right.
Like, I mean, it is like to say that it's completely gone is not true. Now the plays are very different, and they require more time to make. It is less common that you are able to make a play. Like in one of those situations, you might, like if you were a warlock running away and you were able to escape to a doorway, you would float above the doorway and attempt to shotgun somebody. You know, if you were, a night stalker, you might like dip behind cover and then like peek out with a sniper and then shade step back. I don't know, something else. Now the plays are like much slower paced. They're like, if you make it around a corner as a warlock, you put down a rift, and then you might be able to win a melee duel. You know, if you are a hunter, maybe you have Geminis, you could shade step. If you're a hunter with, when the shade step isn't as useful as like if you're a Titan, you can like get around a corner, break line of sight, put up a shield, like something. Those are like the plays you're making. They just happen at a much slower pace, and they require like more time.
But do you think that's good
problem.
though? Like, do you like that system, the way it is?
No. I think the problem with the system.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the problem with the system now is no one feels as if they are strong enough to win outnumbered fights. No one. So they don't have the confidence to push in that situation, right? You can't. Like Destiny 1, you could duck around a corner, get your shotgun out, get your fusion rifle out, and you knew that you had at least some chance of winning that outnumbered fight. Now, unless you're with your teammates, you won't. You have to play defensively. You have to play conservatively when you start getting weak. And that's the problem with the Crucible now, in terms of what they were saying with what everyone's been saying with there's no powerful moments, no hero moments.
Right, so instead of switching to your special...
Thinks that they're weak. Yeah, everyone thinks that they're too weak to win those fights, so why try to win those fights?
Instead of switching to your special and trying to make a play, you're retreating to your team, basically.
Yeah, because you essentially know that very small chance you're going to win a 2v1 in the current state of Destiny 2.
Yeah.
And like you said, unless you had heavies or you had a supercharged or, some grenade or something. And that's the problem. It slows down the pace of the game.
Yeah, 100%. The thing about the system now is like you can still make those plays, but they're all based on cooldowns. It's based on your super cooldown. It's based on your grenade cooldown. It's based on your class ability cooldown. In Destiny 1, the change of pace was part of your neutral game. You always had those options, and then your cooldowns opened up even more possibilities. So now, in a lot of high tier play, like your cooldowns are used like defensively to like get you out of situations instead of like aggressively. Like in Destiny 1, you were able to use your neutral game defensively, and you could use your cooldown game aggressively and make plays. Now it's almost like the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do to change that with the weapons. I mean, I'm a fan of the idea of putting legendary snipers and shotguns back into the elemental section. Keep things like Acreus and those exotics in the heavy slot.
Yeah.
But then you would have to limit ammo, and then if you're limiting
keep
ammo,
the Darcy in the heavy slot, man. That thing is.
I mean, if you're going to do something like that, it would make sense to keep quote unquote exotic weapons that do special things in your heavy slot, right?
Yeah.
Of those types. It would save the whole icebreaker scenario that we had with D1 if they did that as well. But they would have to limit ammo, and if they limit ammo, those players who don't want to run a shotgun or don't want to run a sniper rifle in Crucible, who still want to use an SMG or a hand cannon, they're not going to have ammo for that SMG or hand cannon. I don't know how they're going to.
Well, it depends how they approach it. They don't have to limit ammo if they increase TTK on the primary weapons.
That's the other solution.
Yeah,
I'm all for like diverse neutral game. Like, please don't limit ammo. Heck, take the fucking numbers off and just put a little infinity symbol there. Like, make me
for
reload.
kinetic, for kinetic.
No, even for kinetic. Special. If the TTK is high enough, you don't have to worry about ammo.
That's
like,
true.
why should that be a concern in Crucible? Like, oh, my things are
the reserve ammo anyway. Obviously, you still have to.
I think it's because the way Destiny 1 was, right? If the kinetic weapons or whatever they were called back then, they were never really strong enough if someone rushed you down with a shotgun for you if you didn't have the energy ammo to win the fight or something, right? I think they need to.
Well, Last Word was definitely strong enough to mow them down.
Oh yeah, I mean there was obviously outliers, but I mean in general the time to kill with those weapons, that's what everyone asked and screamed for. Better primary weapon gunfights.
This is actually a good segue.
And what Bungie did, they were like, here's 2 primary weapons. That's not what people were asking for. They were asking for stronger primaries to help combat the strength of what the special weapons were, the shotguns and the snipers and the fusion rifles.
So while you have
your need to improve those.
Your concerns with this article that I linked you on Reddit, I will put it out there for the chat, and this time to kill discussion is relevant because one of the points that he makes about what you're talking about is that those outliers were effective at combating against the special weapons. So like Thorn killed in 0.42 seconds with the maximum time to kill.
One shot, didn't it?
Two.
Oh, no, you used to have a headshot one shot someone.
That's Hawk Moon.
Oh, that was a very temporarily Hawk Moon.
Yeah. Hawk Moon. So but Thorn could 2-tap 0.42 seconds and you'd burn out. The Last Word could kill in 0.25 seconds, but it never happened. I mean, it was like the only thing that was glitched, that was stupid about it, was you could ADS and get 2 headshots, which never should have been allowed. But other than that, it was a short range. It was effective. And then Hawk Moon, most ideally, you could 2-tap, which was about 0.5 seconds. 0.4 seconds, something like that, but it was possible to 1-tap because the lucky shots could stack, but it was just incredibly unlikely. It was like 1 in 1,000 chance, and then you had to land the shot, obviously. So it was just also there's a weird thing about that.
Go back to that.
Yeah, no, I don't think.
Short Thorn. I'm not saying that fast, no.
But so in this article, he makes an argument about movement speed and says basically, the amount of frames that you have moving from one territory to another and your movement speed should dictate the time to kill, is the argument that he puts out there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it should.
And so what he's saying is with the movement speed the way it is right now, that around 0.5 seconds is what he would like to see. That kind of scares me. I mean, I don't really have a lot of data to support my opinion, but I think 0.8 feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
If everything was 0.8, I mean,
and I feel stupid saying that because I don't have like charts and stuff to back up what I'm saying, but it just like from an experiential
I mean, yeah, his charts back up what you're saying. He literally just like decides to like throw a whole bunch of factors out of the equation like every time he talks about like the issue. Specifically, he's looking at the shortest sight lines available in Destiny 2, when the majority of the maps are made with much wider, much larger lanes than Destiny 1 with much less cover. And it's like the time to kill, I mean, actually isn't terribly inappropriate for the way Destiny 2's maps are designed, because like, I mean, if you look at Midtown, I mean, like if you're in A lane, you know, you're looking and you're trying to get out of A lane. It takes like 6 seconds to get out of line of sight. I mean, the map that you really have to take into the consideration the maps. But like a shorter time to kill, 100% better. They're like would be nicer, but there really does need to be like some thought put into like the new maps that are coming and how we could enhance the old one.
So as far as
second is too fast.
Right, and it sounds too fast, and it's hard for me to even remember 3 years ago, like, accurately, because of how long ago it is, and the corruption of memory and stuff like that, but I kind of remember, I was a lot worse at the game, but I kind of remember this feeling of, like, the Thorn had such a long range that with that time to kill, I remember getting shot, and before I could even react to it, it was too late. You know what I mean? And maybe that's me. Maybe my reaction time isn't as strong as like, you know, certain people. But
the problem with the Thorn though was that it wasn't direct damage, right? The
dot.
They could fire off 2 very fast shots at you, catch you as you're running, as you peaked or whatever, and you were done.
Yeah.
So the time till you die might have been 0.4 of a second because of the burn.
Right.
But those 2 shots were much faster than 0.4 of a second.
Right.
They wouldn't kill you because the burn would kill you, but you essentially knew you were dead. As soon as those 2 shot hits you, you knew you were dead.
So
that's too fast.
And the other thing is, like I said to him, I made a comment and he actually did respond. I'm not here. I can try and pull it up, but the point that I made to him was that basically the same thing you said, Huffy, about the cover and. Also like recovery, because they've severely made recovery worse in Destiny 2. And what he said was that it doesn't matter because Viking Funeral and the burn damage also kept you suppressed even longer. Which I would argue...
He's obviously maining a warlock. He obviously does not...
But what I would argue is that was the worst part of Destiny 1, Year 1, was especially Viking Funeral, Firebolt grenades, because they kept you suppressed for 14 seconds. That's not like an exaggeration. Holy crap, was that frustrating, especially with such a short time to kill, because it just left you vulnerable for an eternity. And I don't think that is a state that I want to return to.
The problem we have now is that Destiny 2 isn't Destiny 1. The movement speed is different.
If anybody's curious,
the maps
that's what I said
are designed
to him.
differently.
The
weapon systems are designed differently. So you can't... I mean, the guy's got a lot of information and a lot of stats and percentages, but like we were saying before, it's well-constructed bullshit. Right? Like, you can't take this idea of Destiny 1 being the exact same as Destiny 2 and just, let's make everything Destiny 1.
Yeah.
They would have to change the movement speeds. They would have to change the way the maps are designed, like Huffy was saying, and then change the weapons and things. But everyone I know hated that meta, that 2-shot Thorn, 1-shot Hawkmoon meta.
Yeah.
Like Huffy was saying, what we need is kinetic weapons that can kill fast enough based on the current movement speed of players, because we don't want another situation where someone can get a shotgun, see you from the other end of the map, and then jump towards you and in a straight line and kill you with this shotgun from like 10 foot away, because it's an Acris, because everyone uses an Acris, before you can hit the guy in the head enough times to kill him, right? But at the same time, it can't be so quick that if you get stuck in Midtown in the street and you like, oh hey, and someone spawns at the end of the street behind you, like it can't be so fast that they can two-tap you before you even have a chance to move to the left, to the right, and whatever, right? There needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
And this guy's information is great information for Destiny 1, and it would have probably helped with time to kill in Destiny 1. But currently, you can't really have relevance to Destiny 2 because they are different games. They are the different movement speeds and everything. I'd like to see point 8, like the Vigilance Swing, on everything across the board, rather than just 1 or 2 weapons like we had in D1 as well. So there's variety for people to use. 3-tap hand cannon for the 140, 150 RPM. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Whether that makes the slower ones 2-tap or just useless, I don't know. But I don't know. I think that 3-tap speed, I think you should be looking at, well, Bungie should be looking at that middle-ranged weapon RPMs for everything. For the assaults, for the pulses, for the hand cannons. They need to get that middle section to down towards 0.8 across the board. And then the slower guns, if you're accurate with them, 2-tap, like hand cannons, whatever, it will work. If it doesn't, you're a bit slower because they shoot slower. And then those faster weapons, they need to be toned, especially like the assault rifles, based on range and rate of fire to try and match. But you need that middle ground. You can have 0.1 or 2 seconds faster in some things if you are able to get very specific headshots. But there needs to be a trade-off, like accuracy or, you know, recoil on the gun, bloom, whatever the hell it's going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 0.5 of this guy's channel is just ridiculous.
No, I totally agree with you though. Like about 3-taps, like in Destiny 2, like at the end of Destiny 1, like people were complaining like 3-taps didn't feel powerful enough on hand cannons. That was because like the closest cover to you was like 4 feet away, and someone could easily slide at you with a shotgun. Now the lanes are big enough, like that if there were 3-tap hand cannons, like there's no way people are just going to run at you with a shotgun unless you're like poorly positioned.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah. And if you are poorly positioned, then you deserve to die. I mean, bad.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to
whoa, hey,
in game.
Hey, hex, man.
You know, if you walk into the middle section of Midtown with your hand cannon out, and there's a guy coming in from that left side from the street with a shotgun or whatever, then you know, you're in a bad position with the weapon you have. You don't deserve to win that fight. But at the same time, if he's running at you down the street and there's no cover and you have a hand cannon and he has a shotgun, you deserve to win that fight. And that's not the situation it is now. Like, hunters can just, with the stompies, and the warlocks are now have a faster jump. The titans have a faster jump.
So
it's easier for people to close that gap. And it's, so basically kinetics need to do more damage.
If you guys want to start, if you want to put a couple questions in chat now, we'll get to those. I'm gonna wrap up a couple miscellaneous topics, and we'll just kind of rapid fire through them, and then we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. So real quick, neither of you guys got the DFA, right? I didn't.
No, I'm for tonight. I have the night off. I'm so excited.
Oh, sweet. I can tell you, I farmed for it for 8 or 9 hours. I did 25 nightfalls, and I did not get it. In that span of time for my team, 2 of them dropped, and 1 of them dropped to a person who already had it, so it's just a bad experience altogether. I'm going to keep grinding for it this weekend. Hopefully I get it this week. I'd like to not have to devote the rest of my week to it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It looks pretty good, but I'm hearing mixed results about this thing. So it has better range and stability than the Better Devils, but it doesn't have explosive rounds. So the range...
It's statistically better in every category.
Right. Well, not reload speed.
Reload speed is the one.
Right.
Yeah, the one category.
And not magazine size. Magazine size is 9. So that's the big drawback of the weapon. You pretty much need your Masterworks to give you the extra bullet, I would say, for it to be viable. The other thing that's weird about it is, like, So the range stat's better, which affects a whole host of things that's kind of buried. Accuracy, fall off, stuff like that. But at the same time, explosive rounds on the better Devils increases range like a ton, as we know, and then it also increases the size of the hitbox. So, you know, which one is more valuable to you? And then,
well, here's the thing about the DFA is like one is especially on console, but also on PC. The hitbox is also the size of the hitbox is increased greatly by opening shot.
Is the
But then you lose Rampage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly, like, especially on console, I would never put on Rampage for Crucible.
Definitely not, because the perk is too short, and like everything I've.
I mean, I like the idea of the DFA if it's a more stable, better Devils.
I like the idea of it, yeah.
On the better Devils, right? I think I've masterworked my better Devils for stability as well.
But so like Huffy's saying, the Rampage perk does not last very long, and your magazine is so small. Don't try and reload and use Rampage because that'll never work. And then your magazine's so small that like you might be able to 3-tap one person in a super situational time. You know. It's just not
be good for free for all. If you've got, I mean, you want more people to shoot. Like, have you played any of the free for all this week?
I haven't. No. I mean,
I can't wait to.
It's so much nicer than what it was last time. The pace.
That's sad, dude. I love
the pace is almost spot on now.
So I was watching a lot of Zad's play, and he's been dominating. But here's one thing that I've noticed that's a problem with the 6s is when people quit out, you're playing like 2 or 3. And that's.
I mean, I played enough to get my milestone done, and nobody quit out of the games.
Okay. Well, I mean, I watched him for like 2 hours, and like maybe it's just because that he's like a top tier player and people are quitting out. But I was just like, holy crap, he's playing like 2 or 3 people like every other game, which is bad.
I mean, it's nowhere near as fast and as much of a clusterfuck as it was the last time around.
Well, I like that they adjusted the respawn timers for sure.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
But it's weird. It's like it's fast enough for it to feel intense and faster than playing 4s. You still kind of feel as if you have to constantly look around for someone. But it's nowhere near as terrible as what it was the other week when it came out. So it's much nicer.
I'd like to see some balancing with the power ammo in Rumble. From what I've noticed, it's basically like if you control an area with Acreus, you just get fed more and more power ammo, and it's very snowball.
I had a guy doing that on Midtown.
By Planter?
On the heavy on the inside on the right.
Yeah.
Grabbed an Acreus, he just ran around that building, you know, between rugs and the street, just in a circle. Everyone that came near him, whoosh. And he was just doing that.
Strat.
He didn't leave that kind of loop. He just literally ran around that path in a circle around that building.
Either of the gardens, like that tree, or there's a tree on the other side, or like a little garden area, like either of those spawn points are like fucking gold. Yeah, if they were gonna decrease player size, they needed to decrease heavy ammo spawns as well, because now the likelihood that you're running into somebody who has heavy ammo is like 20% higher.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I was loving it though because I felt like I could run around. I felt like D1. I had sniper ammo like constantly.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
You were playing with a sniper in Rumble. Wow.
Yeah, I was tearing it with that sniper, man.
Let's go, dude.
All right.
You know the Nightfall sniper from the other week.
Yeah, that's all I use.
Just body shot in, going back to the vigilance wing, just burst.
Why not just use a hand cannon? It's so much quicker than waiting for that 5 burst thing.
Vigilance swing, man.
Because you just gotta hit him in the toe. You just gotta hit him in the toe, man.
They would die no matter where you hit them with that vigilance swing. That's the thing. And if you hit them in the head, they would die before all 5 bullets reach them. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, so like I'm curious to see what you think of the Rumble changes after you play later, Huffy. But and I still gotta play. I have to get this DFA first though, because it's going away after this week.
Yeah. I promise that I'll probably be sad. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I really liked 8.
So another piece of good news: the bug for Iron Banner got fixed. It's coming back next week, April 17th. We're getting 6v6 Iron Banner. I think it'll be cool. I'm ready to try something new, so it'll be interesting to see how 6v6 plays.
This is the first time that something has gone wrong, and it's taken a week to fix.
You're right.
You did. Like, I think that we should
week.
note that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it's like a new trend.
Yeah, that's
Like,
weird.
Yeah.
That it like something went wrong and we didn't lose it for like 4 months and like sit around and say, "Oh, I wonder what happened." Like,
hey, sorry, an emote broke trials. It's gone for 2 weeks. You know.
That happened.
I know.
That actually happened.
I know.
But this is better.
Yeah.
I mean, not to sound
I'm still
optimistic.
concerned about 6v6.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays, but I'm excited to try something new.
Look how 8-player free-for-all went.
You're right.
And now you're gonna have 12 guys on the same map.
You're right.
And
the spawns suck, but
two extra people team shotting you.
I think that like I don't know. I hope that they go with the respawns that don't suck. Like I hope that they're a little bit longer respawns. I hope it's not the 2-second respawn.
If they throw it out,
it is long.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3, like it was originally. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's actually 5.
5 seconds.
It's longer than normal.
Okay.
If they, I swear, if they put burnout in that rotation.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
They have the chance to royally fuck up if they put burnout, endless veil.
No, we basically need to play Shores of Time like the entire time.
They need the larger maps in there. Yeah. Definitely.
Shores, Midtown.
Yeah.
There's honestly not any other maps that are big enough.
What about Fortress? You think Fortress is big enough?
No.
I think Fortress will be fine.
I mean, I think Fortress will be fine, but I think that like there's gonna be like a lot of
Huffy,
bodies in that middle lane.
If you play Fortress, we could just put one team on one side of the door and one team on the other side of the door.
Dude, that door! Why is it there?
The thing with Fortress is no one ever goes to the other side of the map. They're always fighting around that cave system.
Yeah.
So, can you imagine 12 people jammed in there, team shotting each other?
Oh god.
No.
With Vigilance Wing.
God.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's why it's going to be such a big problem. People think that like there's like this misconception that Fortress is a big map, but it's not, because the lanes are huge and you can see people from the other side. Yeah. Like if there was cover, it'd be cool, but like you can see from like one side of the map to the other.
Yeah.
Dude,
that one lane is like never a good idea to even be in at all.
Yeah.
See, I hope that if it does come out and it is just absolute mayhem,
we need Rusted Lands back.
They do say at the end of the week, 6v6 was a bit too much. It's going to be 4v4 next time.
Well, if that's fine, if that's the case, but I really want an identity for Iron Banner. It's got to be better.
It's got different control scoring, right? And then they put it back to like the classic system for Iron Banner. Yeah,
they changed the scoring system.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they put it. Yeah, I'm
so
sure
you get like headshot bonuses and stuff. You're saying?
No, just as far as like
the way you control the flags and the points you get per kill for flags and stuff like that. I think they've put it
they
back
already
to the
changed that in regular
system.
control. So like if you have multiple people on a point now, it captures it faster.
I'm sure they've done. They said they've done.
They didn't do that
for Iron Banner.
I've definitely.
Well, they did for regular
that.
control. As far as I'm aware, is they've made it so you don't have the first A and C points all the time now. I thought they just any difference.
Stand on a point with somebody else. I've definitely noticed it start moving at a faster rate to capture it.
I don't think that happened. They would have told us that.
They did. They did tell us that.
They told us that was for Iron Banner.
I know, but I've noticed it since 1.1.4. Like definitely.
Then that's a bug.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get points, like if both players get points for capturing it or what, but it definitely moves
the points
faster.
For kills, I'm sure they said the points for like kills and the way the flags are captured are going to be different.
So I kind of want to talk about with this development roadmap, I'm glad they're being transparent. There's a couple issues and concerns, but my biggest disappointment, and I'm going to keep harping on this, is that these sandbox changes are not frequent enough. They don't even mention a sandbox change other than the exotics coming between now and September at all.
Dude, I thought
there better
I was...
be one in September. They say there's more that's going to be announced. There better be a sandbox update because that's 6 months.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
I hope
was
there is
so
one
sure.
with the DLC in September.
Yeah, there has to be. There has to be.
Yeah.
I was so sure that you were gonna say that mobility doesn't affect Spencer.
No.
I was like,
Inaccuracy.
Yeah.
my biggest disappointment. Oh, Rex, please don't.
No. Sandbox changes. I want to see at least quarterly. I feel like quarterly is not asking for the world. I'm trying to be conservative about that. Like a lot of people would like to see monthly sandbox changes that are smaller. I want to see like big sandbox changes at least quarterly.
What's the one that we had the other week? The first one since launch.
Well, not technically, but yes.
Yeah.
It was the only substantial one.
Specific weapons.
There was
They changed
one.
some
There was
specific
one in
weapons, didn't
December before Curse of Osiris, but it barely did anything. All it did was nerf pulse grenades, really.
And nerf the tooltip on the last hope.
And then also nerfed shoulder charge for some stupid reason that they've now reversed.
I mean, they have been doing one every like 3 or 4 months then.
I don't count that as a sandbox change. I mean, that's 3 things.
They literally just
changed.
changed
they
the
do.
tooltip on a gun,
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah, we fixed it.
They do consider that a sandbox change. So like,
I consider 1.1.4 the first sandbox change since launch.
It's the first time
First
it's actually
substantial
felt
one.
different.
Yeah.
First time. Actually.
Yeah.
but I mean, they got the exotic one coming up.
But that's not a whole sandbox change. Like you're targeting very small pieces of the sandbox. You know what I mean?
But how many times can you change the sandbox? I mean,
I
if
think
they
you can
get
change
the
it
game into
quarterly.
a situation where everything is roughly on par.
Have
with
we
each
ever
other
been in that
terms of the time to
situation?
kill. Well, no, but you might do.
I mean, if they achieve that, then you don't need a sandbox change that often, right?
Right.
But
No. I mean, even now with the current update, there's a lot more weapons.
So if
that
they're
are viable
seriously
for Crystal.
considering
I agree.
changing time to kill, it's going to require a lot of sandbox changes because I think it's going to
Oh yeah, the
take them
time
a
to kill
while.
will be a complete sandbox change. It has to be.
Yeah.
Well, I know that, but what I'm saying is I think when they do it initially, that it'll probably leave a lot of things out of balance because they're going to have to like retune so many knobs in the sandbox that
Yeah.
they're going to need to change it again after that. You know what I mean? Like to get everything right, like multiple times until they finally get to like some sort of balance.
yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we had a PTR that we could test this for them before they pushed it live?
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
would.
I mean, that would be nice. I mean, I'm fine without a PTR as long as they bring in outside people for testing. Like if they did one of these summits, like they're doing right now, if they just like pulled some people out, like that knew what they were doing. For,
Dude, that's
like,
much more expensive. They got to fly people out to them. Like,
I mean,
It's probably cheaper just to buy some servers and
Yeah.
stick a
I mean,
PTR.
I don't know, man. I mean, PTR is like a decent amount of investment in server space.
more
and,
than
like,
flying
staffing
people
space.
out like every couple months though to their studio.
Every couple months is being pretty optimistic, Recked. We're talking
but-
about
Well, they're
once a
gonna-
year.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
so
have
once
to,
a
like,
year is like
show-
less often than we need people to test stuff. Like once a year is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sufficient to be testing
Things like
these
sandbox changes need to be on a PTR, right? There's nothing in them that would spoil stories or raid completions or strategies for things.
Yeah.
So if they are going to go the route of more regular updates to the weapon systems and stuff, they need to test it. And it's obvious that they don't really test much at Bungie with the current state of the old state of the way Rumble was, right? Like, or the.
But yet their
Promethean
testing
I thought it
process
was
is
fun.
so long. You know, it's so long and so time consuming. Has to go through so many people, and then yet it still rolls out with bugs anyway, like game breaking bugs.
Which is why the PC platform has that ability, that freedom, because they don't have to go and get approved by Microsoft or Sony before they push an update out. They can stick whatever hell they want
Yep.
on the Blizzard app in a PTR. It could be completely broken. It doesn't matter,
Right.
right? And people could
Yeah.
be like, "This is great. This is not great," and then it'll give them time to dial it in
Yep.
for when they want to release the sandbox update. Throwing a sandbox update out, especially one that would increase the time to kill, like you said, you could have. There's so many weapons in the game. There could be one or two things that seep through the gaps and are just ridiculous, and will be Prometheus lens situation all over again. And then it will take another 2 or 3 months for that to get, or weeks, whatever, for them to get patched out. So, but it's Bungie, and I don't think Bungie has ever publicly tested anything. So.
Well, I mean, they're obviously testing. It just there's some disconnects. I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, they're obviously doing testing. They're obviously testing the crap out of like these new sandbox changes. There's just like, it's weird how often game-breaking things make it through the crack. I don't know what the cause for that is. But I think it would be an overstatement to say that it's not being tested.
It's probably the testers sat there being like, oh boy, this is so much fun. This is cool. Look at this thing. I'm running around the Prometheus lens and I'm zapping everybody. And then they're like, sweet, the testers like it. It's all good to go. And they push it out and then realize that what the testers were saying was that the guy is stupidly overpowered and kills people in half a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that pretty much wraps up all the topics I wanted to talk about. Did you guys have anything else?
Dude, I'm feeling Gucci.
Same.
Yeah, good.
I apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, guys. I think that it was the Twitch servers having an issue because it randomly fixed itself. So, and I tested my upload speed, which was fine at the time. And you guys didn't see me like having issues in this video call, right? So.
Nope.
Oh, I mean, there was the part where you turned into a squirrel.
Yeah.
And then like morphed back into a human. It was really odd. It happened like in one of those frame drops, but I just...
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're always looking for feedback for what you want to see in the future of the podcast. You can always drop it in my Discord under the Think Tank section. We want to make improvements every week and give you guys what you want to see. I'm still trying to figure out uploading an audio version of this and trying to get it on multiple platforms and stuff like that. That's
there
probably
was
the
a
biggest thing.
suggestion that was offered in the Discord today that we weren't able to incorporate like for this week, but it'll be ready to ship next week. We're all going to broadcast naked, and we'll be like dual streaming this on some more suggestive platforms.
Yep.
That will show the bottom half of our bodies. So in order to like get the whole picture, you'll have to like have two.
It's kind of like the keyboard cam, but not the keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple of nice upskirt shots.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hex, thanks for coming on this week. I think that's going to wrap up everything. We appreciate having a guest. We're going to try and get some more guests in the future. I'm Recked. You can find me at twitch.tv/Recked, RECKED_UM, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Recked, RECKEDUM.
I'm Huffy.
Should I do mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter, and it's Hexblitz with an underscore at the end.
Perfect.
Heck yeah, dude. It was fun.
Peace.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Mwah.